Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Broyans Farm. At the end of my last video, I told you how we were gonna get down to the field and start planting our mid-season cabbage. So let's start out with that.
Dad is right here. This is our mid-season cabbage patch that we're just about to start planting. He's making rows with the corn planter, just putting fertilizer in, not corn. Yep, this is where the cabbage is going, Frank.
So you can see the rows,
and then in that row is fertilizer, and that's where I'm gonna drive, and that's where they're gonna put the plant in about an hour. He almost got stuck. Wow, that was close. He almost got stuck. The ground is still really muddy here. That'd have been bad. So now I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do with the tractor and planter, but I guess we'll make it work somehow. Right, Dace? So you love the mud.
So we've been down here planting cabbage for like the last, I don't know, maybe a little over an hour. We got, I think, around 10 rows in so far. It's going pretty good. Sammy is actually had to go into CVS, so she couldn't help. Dad's up planting sweet corn. So my brother's wife, Sydney, is here,
and Mom. Them two are planting. I'm driving like normal. This field's kind of weird. It's very short and it goes in a U, so I'm not driving as good as I usually do, which kind of upsets me just a little bit. And then right here, since we've had all that rain, this spot laid really wet. So when Dad was making rows, he kind of sunk in, and then when I was trying to plant, it screwed me up as well. So not that big of a deal. You can see how muddy it is. I mean, you can make a ball out of it if you wanted to, which means it's very wet. And so we have lots of room in the field. It's not like missing this little section here is gonna really hurt us.
So we're coming towards the end. We're on Brussels sprouts right now.
Then we gotta do kohlrabi, and that's gonna be it.
For a couple weeks there, it seemed like I was starting out every video in the strawberry patch saying how, you know, we were gonna try and pick 30, 40, 50 quarts, whatever we could get. That season has now officially finished. We've moved on to our vegetable fields where we're picking some lettuce, kale, kohlrabi, and actually the collard greens are ready, but we don't sell many of those at our farm market. We sell a lot more of those at the fresh market we go to up in Wilkes-Barre on the square. We don't plant a lot of lettuce. This patch right here, from the tall green all the way down to where the kale starts, is all we plant. These couple, I'm gonna call them bushes of lettuce, are doing really nice because it's not head lettuce, just regular leaf lettuce. I'm gonna pick
about 5 or 6 of these, and then I'll move on to the kale.
Oops. Usually a couple, wow. Usually a couple of the bottom leaves we take off just because they're laying right on the ground and not so good, but these ones don't look so bad. We also usually put rubber bands around them, but I walked out here and don't have them, so I'm just gonna put them in the crate for now and I'll bunch them up later. Now this one held together quite a bit better. But that's exactly what we want. The red seems to go about just as good as the green. So now I'm gonna grab the kale. We only usually grab the bottom leaves and we'll put about 5 to 6 in a bunch. Again, I don't have rubber bands, so I'm just gonna throw them in the crate and I'll bunch them when I get back to the shed. So if I had rubber bands, this would be my bunch right here. That leaf isn't any good. This one's good. I'm not gonna keep that one. It's hard to see what's going on in the jungle of leaves. Usually I just kind of go through, cut a lot off, and then I'll pick them up and figure out if they're good or not. Now, what I'm not cutting is only gonna get taller and the leaves are gonna grow a lot bigger, and then I'll harvest that later on in the season. My crate's getting a little full. And I have to walk all the way back to the blue shed with it. But I want to make sure I get enough. So I think I got enough. At least for today anyway. So I got back here to my rubber bands. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's small, put a 6th one in. Flip them over. I like the double rubber band, holds it better. And that's it right there. That's how it'll get sold at the market. We usually put them in a little bucket of water, just so the bottom inch or 2 is sitting in water, keeps it a lot fresher. You can sell it for a day or 2, sometimes 3. If you put it in the cooler at night, keep it in the water during the day, it doesn't really wilt down at all. So that one's only got 5, but they're big leaves, so that's good enough. Good. They're big, nice heads or bunches, whatever you want to call it, of lettuce. It's not a head. And really, I can't even get the rubber band around it. I just like to hold it together a little bit. That'll do. If people pick them up or move them around and break leaves off, then they might just think they're garbage and throw them away, and it's all good eating. So at least now this rubber band will hold those loose leaves on there. Leaves. So now I'll finish off out here with the kohlrabi. That's basically all we have out here now. Won't be too long, we'll have broccoli, but, well, this broccoli isn't even close. The broccoli out that end is already putting on baby little heads like that. This first one here is really nice. Kohlrabi grows extremely fast. This probably doubled in size in the past 3 days. And it's because it grows so fast that we plant it so tight together. That way it kind of restricts it a little while. Because we don't start going to markets for another probably 3 weeks, and we don't want this to get overgrown. Now, if you don't know what kohlrabi is, I'll explain it. I know I explained it in my previous videos. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but for the new viewers, I just want them to understand what this is. Obviously, this is kohlrabi, and what I know what most people do with it is they'll take that outside layer off with the leaves, take all the leaves off. Some people will juice the leaves, but that's not a real popular thing. What most people do is, after they take the outside layer off, they'll slice it thin, put some salt on it, and eat it raw, or you can dice it up, put it in soups and stews, anything like that. Holy cow, I just pulled out the first bulb.
This is monstrous. That's one of the biggest bulbs I think I ever picked. Holy cow, people are gonna be happy with that. Sometimes we'll sell it with the top on, but people don't really know what to do with the top. There isn't really anything you can do with it. It just makes it look cool. People get to see how it's grown, but I'm just gonna lop that off. Well, I thought I was. Here we go. And that's how I'm gonna sell it, right there. You take that little bit of dirt off, that's gonna be nice, white, and shiny. Now, just from looking at stem size, I can tell these ones out here get smaller, probably from the lack of rain we had. But I know down over the hill there, they get huge again.
Last year, we didn't really lose any, but we had some of the smallest garlic we've ever had just because we didn't get water to it in time. So this year, I tried to not let that happen. We put irrigation pipe through it, but still, it probably would have rathered more water than what we gave it. When harvest time comes, we'll actually bring a digger through here and dig it up. But for right now, I'm just gonna pull it out by hand. The only thing you need to do is just watch, because you can actually pull the toes apart by pulling it out of the ground like that. Now, the ground is pretty moist, so it's pretty okay. But if it wasn't, we've already pulled the tops off and the bulb just stayed in the ground. I'm gonna try and wash the garlic off here a little bit.
Look how the skin just washes right off, nice and white.
I just got out here to the market. We're starting to get set up.
This is the kohlrabi that I picked. This is local from about an hour away. Red beets, local pickles, zucchini, cucumbers. The tomatoes are not local. That's about the only vegetable that isn't from around here. Beans, peppers might also not be either, but everything else is, I'm sure of it. The sweet corn's really nice. Pap actually went out to a farmer yesterday and he picked it while he was there, loaded it up in his car, and then brought it here. We really need some more cantaloupe. We still have a good amount of watermelon.
Sammy's putting out the green tomatoes that Dad just picked.
And then I just got the garlic out. Everybody says how much it smells, but I can't even smell it.
So now that we're done setting up the veggies, Sammy and I came back here in the back to make the strawberry surprises.
Obviously, like I said, we don't have our own berries, so we had to get bought-in ones. They're very nice. I just don't think they have quite as good a flavor as homegrown. And we gotta add our lemon juice and sugar, and then we'll put them over there in the slushy machine right next to the blue raspberry.
The surprise is the honey. That's the surprise.
Sugar is good, but honey's all natural.
So we just finished up. That was actually a triple batch. We could have made more, but that's about all the strawberries we had. Blue raspberry. Strawberries are obviously a lot more expensive because we have to buy the strawberries and then we have to make them. This is just a mix we pour in and it's ready to go. So now we came down here to the lower high tunnel.
We thought we were done tying these about 2-3 weeks ago, but we gave these some fertilizer, and I don't know if that's what it was from or what, but they really took off, and so we just wanted to tie them again before they get tomatoes on, and then maybe bust the plant. The funny part was that we fertilized the upper high tunnel with the same exact fertilizer, the same amount of time, and they really haven't grown much at all, besides putting nutrients to the tomatoes. So that's the whole kind of mystery here, but Doesn't matter, the plants are still beautiful and we don't want them to break. We just got to the end of the row, now we'll come back up. We're not weaving in between the plants anymore because they're so big, we don't want to bust them or suffocate them really. Now the first two plants in this row are cherry and grape. This one, I don't know what happened. I explained it in one of my other videos. The tomatoes aren't even cherry, they're like very small regular tomatoes. And the grape is doing awesome, except they're getting so big and we didn't get in here to tie them. Now they're falling over and they're actually kinking, which is horrible for the plant. So we're gonna try and get these stood back up and then run down the row and get the rest finished. Hundreds and hundreds of blossoms. Little baby tomatoes are coming out. I can't wait till these start turning red. Right, Sammy? So you can already see they're a lot better than what they were. We did break a couple limbs, popped off a couple tomatoes, but for the most part, they're good. I actually got to put some kind of extender poles on here now because these are going to keep growing taller and taller, and I don't want them to fall over again. That's what I'm going to call it a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and always remember it ain't much, but it's honest work.